Yarn Wonders. I'm Soumya Vardhan, your crochet coach. So today I'm going to show you how to make these emoji balls. Okay, this is a very easy pattern, and basically you only need to know how to crochet a spear. There is a whole other video on how to increase or decrease a spear. You can check that out also. I've given the link in the description box below. Now let's get right into the video. To make a smiley ball, you will need a size 4 yarn, and to make the facial expressions, you will need a size 1 or 2 yarn. That is a smaller than this one, something which is smaller than this yarn. Okay, and I'm using a 6 mm crochet hook for the size 4 yarn and a 2.5 mm crochet hook for the smaller yarns. Okay. Now let's get into the pattern. So to start this pattern, we are going to start with the magic circle. If you are not familiar with how to do a magic circle, you can watch my previous video on magic circles in the beginner series. Okay. So I've done a magic circle, chain 1, and I'm starting with a single crochet. While making a round object, you can either do stitches on multiple of 6 or multiple of 8. In this video, I'm going to do with multiple of 6. So my first row will be 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The chain 1 we did does not count as a stitch. So in total we have 7 stitches, but this chain 1 doesn't count as a stitch. So we have only 6 single crochets. So now I'm going to close my magic circle. I'm going to attach this into the chain 1 that we made. Pull your slip stitch tightly so that you don't confuse it in your next stitch. Okay, so again chain 1, start your work. The chain 1 that we made on the previous row doesn't count as a stitch, so I'm starting from the first single crochet. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Okay, so this is the chain 1 that we made on the previous row. So now I'm inserting my hook into the second, that is the first single crochet that we made, and I'm making 2 single crochets into each stitch. In all my videos, I've based my pattern on this basic flat circle pattern, which also I've linked the video in the description box. So the second row is a row of 2 single crochets into each stitch. That is, every row we will be increasing the stitches on counts of 6. That is, the first row will be 6 single crochets, second row will be 12, third row will be 18 and so on. While making a doll head or any round object that you're going to stuff your, that you're going to do a stuffing also, you're supposed to do only single crochets, because double crochets is going to create gaps and you may not be able to fill your pattern without gaps. Okay. So I'm done with 12 single crochets. Now again I'm joining it with the chain 1 space that we made. Okay. Now again I'm going to start from this first single crochet that we made. So here this row will be a row of 1 single crochet and 2 single crochets in the next stitch. Single crochet, 2 single crochets, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets. While you do this, or your pattern will always end in an increase row. That is, your pattern will always end in an increase stitch. That is, 2 single crochet will be the last stitch that you will be making. Okay. So here in this row we will be having 18 stitches. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So here I am going to slip stitch into the first stitch that we made. Okay. So now I made 3 rows. If you want your circle to be bigger, you can crochet more rows in multiples of 6. So if you want to continue this row, the next stitch will be one single crochet, 1 single crochet and 2 single crochets in your next stitch. I have explained how to do this circle pattern in my website, and I have linked the link in the description box below. Okay, so now I am going to start a decrease row. Okay, so before starting a decrease row, you have to do a few rows of repeat rows. That is, if you have done 3 rows of 3 rows of increase stitches, you have to do 3 rows of decrease stitches. You have to do 2 rows of repeat stitches and 3 rows of decrease stitches. Okay, so now we are going to do 3 rows of repeat stitches. Repeat stitches are nothing but 1 single crochet into each stitch. That is, you will continue to do 18 stitches for 3 rows. The number of increase rows, the number of decrease rows and the number of repeat rows should be equal. Okay. This way your ball will be even. Make sure you have 18 stitches in every row, because if you miss one stitch also, this is not going to look even. So I am going to continue this till the end of the row, and I am going to meet you back when I have done 3 rows of repeat stitches. So I have completed 3 rows of repeat stitches. You can already see that the shape is forming up evenly. Okay, now I'm going to start with your decrease row. Decrease row is also going to be in the same pattern. That is, the last increase row was 1 single crochet and 1 increase. So now the first decrease row will be 1 single crochet and 1 decrease. Okay, so that is, I'm going to make 1 single crochet and the next stitch is going to be 2 single crochets together. Okay, 1 single crochet and 2 together. One single crochet and 2 together. One single crochet and 2 together. One single crochet. So at the end of this row, you will have 12 stitches. As always, your row will end with an increase or decrease stitch. Okay. So slip stitch into this. Now the second row of your increase stitch was 2 single crochets into each stitch. Therefore, this second row of decrease stitch is also going to be 2 together stitches, 2 decrease stitches in each stitch. So by the end of this, you will have 6 stitches. So by the end of this row, you should start stuffing your work. Otherwise, it's going to get a little difficult to stuff it in the next row. Okay. Now, I have little bit of poly wool here. You can find this in your local craft store. I'm going to take a little bit, roll it up and stuff it into my work. While you're doing it, you should always stuff the sides first. That is, you have to stuff the cotton in the center, push to the sides. Okay. So while you're doing this, make sure you pull out a long loop here. Otherwise, your work is going to come off. Okay. So make sure you're not pulling out your work. Okay. So the action should be stuff and push to the sides. Stuff and push to the sides. So when you have done enough stuffing, you will not be able to push your cotton into the sides without making holes, without making gaps in your work. Okay, so now we are going to do the last row, which is a little bit tricky, closing off, because while you are doing this, it's going to create little gaps like this. So one suggestion is you can do this row alone with a smaller crochet hook. Okay, that way you will not, it will be a more tighter stitch and you may not get much gaps. The other way is to do only one or two uh, stitches of together stitches and then closing it off. See, I've done only 2 of together stitches. I've cut my work with a long tail. Okay, and I'm going to do a slip stitch also. Okay, and I'm going to pull out this work like this. Now I will just sew in this part here to close my work. So this is another way of closing your work, you know, like closing of a pottery bag, and then you tie it up. So this way your work will not have much holes. Okay, see? And here you can just you can do this with the darning needle also. So here I have made a bigger ball than the one that I showed now, and the pattern to this one I have linked it in the description box. So now let's start making the facial features. So now to make the mouth of the emoji, I'm going to chain I'm going to do a few chain stitches. So I made 10 chain stitches. Just check if it is proportionate to the emoji face that you have made. So I think this should do for the size that I have made. And now let's go to the next row. Make a turning chain. Into the second chain from the hook, make 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, and into the next one make 1 single crochet into each stitch until the last but one chain here. So this will give a slight curve to the mouth of the smiley bird. So I'm at the last stitch here. Here again I have to make 3 single crochets. 1, 2 and 3. So So we're done with the mouth. I'm going to slip stitch, chain 1 and leave a long yarn tail to sew it into the face and pull out. Okay, so now our mouth is done. So I'm just going to fix it here. Okay. I've also done another smiley ball here with just a smile emoji. So the eyes here is nothing but a magic circle with 5 double crochets. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to crochet a heart eyes for this emoji. So I've already crocheted one eyes of it. Now I'm going to show you how to make this pattern. I'm using a 2.5 mm crochet hook and a size 2 yarn. Into a magic circle, crochet 3 half double crochets. Chain 2, that counts as 1 half double crochet, 2 half double crochet, 3 half double crochets. Now chain 1 and crochet 3 single crochets, 1, 2 and 3. Again chain 1 and crochet 3 half double crochets, 1, 2, 3. Again chain 2 and pull out your work. Okay, now slip stitch into the magic circle and slip stitch into the first chain of the chain 3 space. Chain 1, leave a long yarn tail to sew it into the face and cut. Okay, so now our crochet heart is ready. I have done these two all the facial expressions that I want. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to attach it to the smiley ball. Okay. Place the pieces using a pin and however you want the shape to be. Okay. Also so I have placed all the facial features here. Now take out your darning needle, insert the yarn and you have to stitch it in from under the part. Okay, so whatever you're stitching, this is the same thing, the same trick you can use it on your dolls also. So whatever you're stitching, if you stitch it from under the part that you're gonna attach, it's not, the stitch is not going to show outside. So now I'm going to attach all these parts here using the darning needle and hide my yarn tails into the smiley ball, and I'll meet you back once it is done. So I have completed these two emojis here. You can choose to create any expression that you want. Basically, you only have to change the facial expression of this. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like the video, do subscribe to my channel to learn more about crocheting. Thank you.